Some steaks make your mouth water, others make your stomach churn. You might believe that ordering steak at a family chain restaurant is a safe choice, but in today's society, you never know what's really in that sizzling platter. In the last 5 years, health departments across the U.S. have cited chain restaurants over 1,200 times for improper steak storage, cross-contamination, and deceptive food labeling. In truth, what's being sold as steak in some restaurants is little more than a chemistry experiment. Soaked in preservatives, marinated in lies, and grilled under pressure to meet corporate speed quotas. And the ones most at risk are Americans, those on fixed incomes, watching their health, and trusting the brands they grew up with. So before you order that next sirloin, ask yourself, do you really know what's on your plate or just what the menu wants you to believe? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. Today, we expose 9 restaurant chains where ordering steak could mean biting into something far more dangerous than you bargained for. Number 1, Applebee's. Looks like steak, sizzles like steak, even arrives at your table on a steaming cast iron platter. It promises comfort, value, and that little slice of luxury you've earned after a long, hard life of work. But what if that illusion is hiding a health threat? What if that tender-looking slab of beef is just another lie served up by a billion-dollar brand that no longer cares about the people who made it popular? Applebee's has long marketed itself as a safe haven for America's working class, where families could gather without worrying about the bill, and retirees could enjoy a night out without being treated like second-class citizens. But behind that cheery slogan, "Eatin' good in the neighborhood," lies a grim truth that's only now being exposed. In recent years, whistleblowers, such as former kitchen workers, cooks, and even managers have pulled back the curtain. Their testimonies, backed by viral videos and leaked internal chats, paint a disturbing picture: steaks that arrive frozen, sometimes pre-cooked, dumped into microwaves, then scorched with a branding iron to give the illusion of flame-grilled quality. One now infamous video posted in 2022 by a Kansas Applebee's cook showed gray, lifeless meat being zapped and stamped before hitting a customer's plate. It garnered over 2 million views. The betrayal is universal, but if that were just about taste, it would be forgivable. This, however, goes far beyond flavor. A 2023 health inspection report from Toledo, Ohio uncovered meat stored at dangerously high temperatures, along with improper sanitization between prepping raw meat and fresh vegetables. That kind of cross-contamination is not just a slip-up, it's a ticking time bomb for seniors with weakened immune systems. One tainted bite can mean hospitalization or worse. And here's the real kicker. Consumer Reports, in their 2023 survey, ranked Applebee's steaks near the bottom nationwide for quality. Customers described them as chewy like rubber, overly salty, and wildly inconsistent. Many ordered medium rare and got something that tasted like jerky soaked in brine, their Bourbon Street steak a sugary, syrup-soaked distraction to mask low-grade meat cuts, leaving you bloated, not nourished. Why is this happening? It's not an accident, but a strategy. In the past 5 years, Applebee's has quietly downgraded from USDA choice beef to cheaper, inferior grades. They've cut deals with lower-cost suppliers, doused their meat in artificial tenderizers, and used caramelized sauces to cover the truth. These aren't steaks. They're science projects built to simulate satisfaction while maximizing profit. And it's the most vulnerable Americans who pay the price. So are you still eating dinner or swallowing deception at this point if you want real value? Walk past the glowing sign. Many local VFW halls and community centers offer real hand-cut steak dinners at affordable prices, in which meals are made by people, not machines. Or you can simply make it at home since it's such a basic dish. A boneless chuck-eye steak from Al Di, pan-seared with garlic and herbs, can offer more honesty, more flavor than anything cooked in a microwave behind closed doors. Because at Applebee's, they might still serve steak, but they've stopped serving the truth a long time ago. Number 2, Outback Steakhouse. Some restaurants serve steak. Outback serves theater. You walk in and it's all dim lights, wooden booths, and boomerang decor straight out of a mall safari. The menu talks like Crocodile Dundee. The servers smile like they've got secrets, and the meat sizzles just long enough to distract you from asking the real question: is this meal real or just really well rehearsed? Let's carve into that steak-shaped illusion. Outback boasts about bold flavors and just right meals, but according to former employees, What really happens behind those swinging kitchen doors is more food factory than steakhouse. Steaks are pre-cut, vacuum sealed, and frozen like backup Thanksgiving turkeys. Some locations even defrost them in warm water baths, a method so unsafe it could make your stomach do the hokey pokey in the ER. Think you're biting into a freshly grilled sirloin. You might be chewing on meat older than your grandson's Halloween candy, but it doesn't stop at freezer burn. Customers from Florida to Oregon have reported steaks arriving too raw, too dry, too tough. Basically, everything but right. In a 2022 national survey by Technomic, Outback was ranked in the bottom third for steak satisfaction. That's like entering a pie contest and showing up with Jell-O. When your food is mass-produced and pre-flavored, you're not getting a meal but a meat algorithm. And here's the part they hope you'll never read: a 2023 lawsuit accusing Outback's parent company, Bloomin' Brands, of calorie fraud. Some steak meals had up to 35% more calories than advertised, for folks juggling diabetes, high blood pressure, or heart disease. That's not a slip-up. It's sabotage with a side of fries. You're counting calories. They're padding profits. Want another bitter bite? Outback's labor record is cooked worse than their steaks. Back in 2017, they shelled out $19 million to settle a massive class action suit after nearly 6,000 workers alleged they were denied overtime and forced to work unpaid. In 2021, another federal complaint revealed black employees in Mississippi were handed the worst cleaning jobs, while promotions mysteriously vanished like a well-done steak at a vegan potluck. By 2022, whistleblowers told Business Insider how management pushed workers to speed things up by skipping safety protocols, reusing cutting boards, and rushing thick steaks to meet corporate time goals. Because nothing says fine dining like cross-contamination on a clock. No rules, just right, they say. But when there are no rules, the only thing right is your instinct to leave. So if you're craving a steak that doesn't come with moral indigestion, consider heading to Firebird's wood-fired grill. It's not a circus. It's just a restaurant that treats food and people the way they should be treated. Looking back at Outback, the only thing cooking faster than the steaks is your trust. Number 3, Sizzler. Remember when a trip to Sizzler felt like hitting the jackpot without ever stepping foot in Vegas? A steak, a salad bar, and maybe even some shrimp on the side, all for less than a tank of gas. It felt like a small luxury, a deserved escape, especially for folks pinching pennies. But in 2025, Sizzler isn't giving you a break. It's giving you a bait and switch. Here's the cold, grisly truth. What Sizzler calls steak is about as authentic as a slot machine promising early retirement. Former employees have confirmed that these cuts are industrial meat, pre-tenderized with poppin', an enzyme extracted from papaya, pumped in to break down muscle fibers. The result, a spongy texture that doesn't chew so much as collapse in your mouth, like wet cardboard pretending to be filet mignon. And if you've ever wondered why every steak tastes oddly the same, it's because it was designed to. But chewiness isn't the only red flag. A 2020 health inspection in Los Angeles cited a local Sizzler for buffet trays sitting below 120 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees shy of the USDA's minimum for safe hot food. That's a bacterial breeding ground. Similar findings cropped up across Utah, Oregon, and Arizona, with expired marinades still in use, thermometers caked in grease and passed around like ketchup bottles, raw and cooked meat handled by the same unwashed gloves. It's not all you can eat. It's roll the dice and hope you don't get sick. And if that doesn't raise your blood pressure higher than the steak's sodium content, consider this. In a 2021 whistleblower interview, a former Sizzler shift manager revealed that leftover steak from the buffet wasn't tossed. It was scooped into tubs, stored overnight, and revamped into tacos or stir-fry for the next day, like some horror show version of leftovers on loop. And yes, customers were charged full price for this recycled mystery meat. But perhaps the most bitter taste comes from what's happening behind the kitchen doors. After filing for bankruptcy in 2020, Sizzler's parent company pushed cost-cutting to the extreme. That meant slashing staff hours, neglecting equipment, and exploiting workers, some undocumented, into cleaning moldy meat coolers without gloves or masks. In 2022, the Oregon Bureau of Labor quietly opened an investigation into wage theft and unsafe conditions, the same fridges that gave workers rashes. They stored the meat served to you, so If you're looking for a steak dinner that won't leave you feeling sick, suspicious, or simply scammed, steer clear of Sizzler. A smarter move. Check out regional chains like Miller's Ale House, where the steak's grilled to order and not plucked from yesterday's buffet bin. At Sizzler today, the only thing being served fresh is disappointment. Number 4, Golden Corral. It's the kind of place that feels like it should come with a handshake and a refill. Golden Corral isn't just a buffet. It's woven into the rhythm of retirement mornings and Sunday after church afternoons. The kind of place where folks linger over coffee, swap war stories, and feel, if only for an hour, like they're being treated right. But when the steam fades and the heat lamps dim, a different picture comes into focus. One that smells less like grilled sirloin and more like neglect, deception, and danger. Let's start with that steak line, the pride of their buffet, marketed as made to order, fresh off the grill. But in practice, it's closer to culinary theater than cooking. Multiple ex-line cooks have gone public revealing how steaks are often pre-boiled in vacuum-sealed plastic bags, then tossed briefly onto a grill just long enough to trick your eyes. The process is called shock searing, but the real shock is biting into something gray, rubbery, and about as flavorful as a cafeteria hot dog left out in July. And what's happening behind the scenes is even harder to swallow. In 2019, a whistleblower at a Florida location filmed trays of raw steak and ribs stashed near a dumpster to avoid being seen during a surprise health inspection. The video racked up over 5 million views and sparked outrage. Golden Corral corporate denied it was standard practice, but the restaurant quietly reopened within days. No firings or fines, just a shrug and a mop. Since then, the health violations have piled up like uneaten rolls on a side plate. Between 2021 and 2024, inspections across Kentucky, Texas, and North Carolina found lukewarm meat trays, unclean serving utensils, and raw meat handled in the same spaces as cooked food. One inspector in Charlotte noted buffet steak sitting at 115 degrees Fahrenheit, low enough for bacteria to throw a party, and high enough for nobody to notice until it's too late. For older diners with compromised immunity, that's not just a red flag, but a whole loaded gun on a dinner plate. And then there's the workforce, overworked, underprotected, and silenced. During the pandemic, Golden Corral was sued for forcing employees to work without PPE, denying them sick leave, and threatening termination if they spoke up. One worker in Georgia said they had to cut raw meat with bare hands, mop around open food stations, and keep working even after testing positive for COVID-19. That's not just unsafe, but also insanely inhumane. This isn't just about bad steak. It's about a system that treats food as filler, people as tools, and health as an afterthought. A place that banks on nostalgia while quietly cutting every corner that used to make it feel safe. You can still find a real meal out there. Perkins Restaurant and Bakery may not shout for attention, but its sirloin tips are cooked with actual care, and in kitchens that smell like food, not shortcuts. Golden Corral may still serve steak by the tray, but the question you should be asking is how many corners were cut before it landed on your plate. Number 5, Buffalo Wild Wings. You walk in for the game, the wings, the beer. You stay because the noise feels familiar, like a bar, a stadium, a memory. Then you notice steak on the menu. It seems out of place. Sure, but harmless. Buffalo Blue Sirloin Street Tacos with steak. Why not try it? You figure if they can handle game night, they can handle a sirloin. But what if that assumption isn't just wrong, it's dangerous? Buffalo Wild Wings isn't a steakhouse and never claimed to be one. But once they decided to chase bigger checks with steak options, they stumbled into a kitchen nightmare they weren't built to handle. Former employees have spoken up the steak doesn't start on a grill, it starts in a plastic bag. Vacuum sealed, soaked in salty marinades laced with citric acid and preservatives, then reheated on the same flat top that fries wings and flips frozen burgers. If you think your steak tastes like hot sauce and fryer grease, that's because it does. This isn't fusion, it's food confusion. And what's lurking behind the scenes is even worse. In 2021, an internal inspection report leaked from a Chicago location showed raw steak stored in the same container as uncooked poultry. A follow-up audit found similar violations in Ohio and Michigan fueled by high turnover, untrained staff, and chaotic kitchens never meant to serve red meat. When a line cook trained on buffalo sauce is told to prep sirloin, things go sideways fast. And sometimes, they go straight into your bloodstream. Reviews from diners aren't kinder. Words like gray, rubbery, and taste like reheated lunch meat appear over and over again across Yelp, TripAdvisor, and Reddit. One viral thread from 2022 titled, "Don't Ever Order Steak at BWW" racked up over 10,000 upvotes, featuring horror stories of steaks that looked rare but chewed like dried-out pork chops. The steak is a gamble, and most customers lose. And if you think misleading steak is the worst part, consider this: in 2023, Buffalo Wild Wings was sued for false advertising after it was revealed their boneless wings weren't wings at all, just battered chicken breast chunks. If they can't label a wing correctly, what makes you think their steak description is any more honest? The kitchen culture only makes it worse. Business Insider revealed in 2022 that cooks are pressured to push out more than 20 orders in 10 minutes. One former shift lead admitted they were told to eyeball doneness, no thermometer, just guesswork under fluorescent lights. That's not cooking, that's gambling with other people's guts. A better idea: skip the sports bar sideshow and find a place that treats steak like more than a gimmick. Chains like Black Rock Bar and Grill actually cook steaks on volcanic stone in front of you, no guesswork, no grease. Because at Buffalo Wild Wings, the only thing rarer than a properly cooked steak is the truth. Number 6, Denny's. It greets you like an old friend. The neon sign glowing in the dark, the smell of coffee brewing at 2 a.m., and the comfort of knowing there's always a table, no matter the hour. Denny's has long been the unofficial rest stop of America, where retirees linger over eggs and truckers recharge before the next stretch of road. And when steak shows up on that all-day menu, it feels like a little upgrade. Nothing fancy, just sirloin and eggs or country fried steak, a hot, no-nonsense meal. But peel back the warmth, and you'll find something colder, greasier, and far more unsettling than anyone expects. Let's talk about that steak. Multiple ex-employees have confirmed what many diners quietly suspect: Denny's steak is more lab than livestock. Most of it arrives frozen, pre-seasoned, and already partially cooked. To mimic that grilled flavor, some cuts are injected with liquid smoke or soy-based flavoring. It's not a real sear, it's a chemical suggestion of one. And when that slab hits the griddle, it's sharing space with bacon grease, pancake batter, and whatever was scraped off during the breakfast rush. This isn't steak. It's a reheated patchwork of diner leftovers dressed up in a menu font that whispers, "Hearty." The safety issues go deeper than surface grime. A 2022 inspection in Albuquerque, New Mexico exposed a particularly grim scene: thawed beef stacked directly over open bins of cooked hash browns and chopped vegetables. Sirloin juices were dripping onto breakfast fixings like a slow, silent warning. 9 other states have logged similar violations in recent years: broken thermometers, expired meat, food held at unsafe temperatures, and managers telling cooks to just eyeball it. Because when the steak's already been half cooked in a factory, what's the rush? Right, even the nutrition facts come with strings attached. In 2023, the Center for Science in the Public Interest tested Denny's sirloin meals and found up to 40% more sodium and saturated fat than listed online. That's not just a rounding error, that's a direct hit to older diners living with heart disease or diabetes, many of whom trust Denny's as a safe, familiar choice. Turns out, what you don't see on the plate may be the most dangerous thing on it, behind the kitchen doors. The picture grows darker. Denny's history with labor rights is spotted with lawsuits from discrimination claims in the 90s to a 2021 class action suit alleging unpaid overtime and dangerous work conditions in California franchises. One former cook said he passed out in the kitchen from heat exhaustion, only to be told to finish plating steak orders before he could sit down. So, if you thought Denny's was your late-night safety net, it might be time to reconsider. Because what's served with a smile might be hiding something far more bitter. Number 7, IHOP. It lures you in with pancakes, keeps you seated with coffee, and surprises you with steak. IHOP, the diner that made its name on syrup and scrambled eggs, has quietly expanded its menu into dinnertime territory, offering sirloin tips, T-bone combos, and even porterhouse-style cuts. For folks living on fixed incomes, it seems like a convenient deal: a sit-down meal under $15, served hot, no questions asked. But maybe that's the problem: no one's asking the right questions. What exactly are you cutting into when you order IHOP steak, according to former employees and leaked training documents? You're not getting fresh meat, you're getting a chemistry project. Their sirloin steak tips arrive frozen, pre-marinated in a cocktail of soy protein isolate, caramel color, and sodium phosphate. It's not flavor, it's engineering. The goal isn't to make it delicious, it's to make you think it's food. And where is this steak cooked right next to pancakes and scrambled eggs, on the same greasy griddles slathered in margarine and bacon drippings? That's not a sear, it's a sticky, sugary crust that tastes like breakfast and regret. In a 2023 MarketForce study, IHOP ranked in the bottom 10% nationwide for steak quality, temperature accuracy, and value. Reviews on TripAdvisor don't hold back gritty, chewy, like salted rubber dipped in syrup. But the danger doesn't stop with taste. In 2022, health inspectors shut down an IHOP in Bakersfield, California for holding trays of steak tips at unsafe temperatures for hours, turning the warming station into a bacterial breeding ground. Their only meat thermometer uncalibrated for over 6 months. Even worse, investigators discovered that leftover steak was often recombined into new dishes reheated based on a staff member's nose. If it didn't smell bad, it went back out to customers. Then there's the labor story one IHOP doesn't put on the menu. In 2021, a lawsuit in New York alleged that undocumented workers were pressured to cook with expired meat, denied breaks, and threatened if they spoke up. Staff also reported working in overheated kitchens with no proper ventilation, flipping meat over flames while trying not to pass out. That's not just bad management, it's moral rot. You might expect a steak from a pancake chain to be underwhelming, but no one expects it to be this risky, this artificial, this dishonest. Want something better? Head to small-town cafes like Bearcat Cafe, where meat is sourced locally, and steak specials are made fresh without chemical shortcuts. You don't need a side of pancakes with your sirloin, you need truth on your plate. And you won't find that in a menu soaked in syrup and shortcuts. Number 8, Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse sells itself as the steakhouse of the people. Big portions, loud country music, peanuts on the floor. It feels honest, down to earth, and dependable. And in many places, it is. But not all Texas Roadhouse locations follow the same playbook. In some franchise-run spots, what you get under the glowing neon sign is a far cry from what's promised in the commercials. Here's the reality: while corporate-owned locations often hand-cut steaks daily with trained staff, select franchise outlets quietly cut corners, according to leaked reports from employees in Alabama and Ohio. Some of these restaurants use pre-cut, vacuum-packed steaks shipped in bulk, downgraded from USDA choice to select or worse. You're paying for premium beef and getting what amounts to second-tier scraps. In 2021, a local investigation in Birmingham exposed that one franchise soaked old, freezer-burned steaks in salty chemical brine to mask spoilage. Diners reported metallic aftertastes, sponge-like textures, and meat that smelled wrong. One woman ended up hospitalized after eating a steak that had been thawed and refrozen multiple times, an open invitation to bacteria. In 2023, a Columbus, Ohio location was fined $20,000 after inspectors found it falsely advertising hand-cut steaks that were actually pre-portioned and shipped frozen from Kentucky. The chain launched an internal audit but never shared the results. And behind the kitchen door, it's not pretty. In Florida, a group of former cooks filed suit over wage theft and being forced to serve undercooked steaks to meet ticket times. You waited more than 5 minutes. One said, "You got docked, so yeah." Raw meat went out. None of this is mentioned in national ads. No sign warns you that one Texas Roadhouse might honor the brand while another might just sell you a story. So before you dig in, ask yourself, are you biting into steak or biting into the illusion of one? Number 9, Chili's. It arrives sizzling, shouting for attention like a stage actor in the middle of a monologue, loud enough to distract but not deep enough to move you. Chili's wants you to believe you're in for a real steakhouse experience. A hot plate, a bold name, a price that feels like a bargain. But what if all that heat is just a clever disguise? What if what's really cooking is a low-cost illusion served with a marketing smile? Here's what Chili's doesn't want you slicing into: the classic sirloin and ribeye aren't cut fresh in-house. According to leaked kitchen manuals and former employees, they're mass-produced, vacuum-sealed, and shipped frozen nationwide. Once thawed, they're soaked in high-sodium marinade blends designed not to season, but to soften low-grade cuts and hide age. Some boxes arrive with thaw-by dates up to 21 days later. That's not freshness, it's shelf life management with a sauce drizzle. Things get darker under the grill. in Oklahoma. A former line cook revealed that unsold steaks were often reheated 2 or even 3 days later, tossed back on the grill, drenched in sauce, and sent out like they were just cooked. And in Tennessee, a 2023 health inspection caught one franchise storing cooked steak above raw chicken, an open invitation for cross-contamination. And the lies aren't just in the kitchen. A 2021 lawsuit in California exposed that Chili's significantly underreported sodium levels in its steak dishes for seniors managing heart issues or blood pressure. Those false numbers aren't just misleading, they're dangerous. Behind the scenes, the labor conditions mirror the shortcuts. A ProPublica investigation found that Chili's outsourced its meat prep to third-party facilities using migrant labor under brutal, unsafe conditions. The steak may show up looking uniform, but the story behind it is anything but. So the next time that sizzling plate slides in front of you, ask yourself, are you tasting a steak or swallowing a performance they promised comfort, value, and a hot plate of steak? But what you got was deception, shortcuts, and health risks hiding in plain sight. These restaurants know your habits, your wallet, and your trust, and they've used all three against you. So next time you sit down to order, ask yourself, are you choosing dinner or letting someone else choose for you? Subscribe to the Downturn Report because the truth isn't always on the menu, but it's always on our table.